Hello everyone, welcome to another video tutorial of the series OmniStudio. In this tutorial, we will be covering the list action element in the integration procedure. And since we do not have any project, so we will be creating data such that we can use it in list action. And for that, we need a little setup. And before moving to the setup, let's cover why do we even need this list action. So there are scenarios where we need to fetch the data from multiple sources. So we get different nodes, but on basis of some ID or maybe any other key, we need to merge them. We do not have any scenario like that as such in this, so we have to set it up manually. I already have created data JSONs for that, and in here we have details like general details where we have first name, last name, maiden name, gender, etc. And we have another data JSON where we have some personal details. And in these two things we have one thing in common, that is the ID. But again, the name is not same in both of these. However, the number of elements and the user ID will be the key in this, and number of elements are same in both the data JSON. So there are 30 in each, and we have to merge it in such a way that user ID for this data JSON will be matching to user ID of the second data JSON. Since we are not pulling this data from any data raptor or any integration procedure, we can set these things up in set values. So we'll cover set values as well. So for that, let's drag this element and let's give it a relevant name that will be sv underscore lists. In this, we are going to add two keys, and with that keys we will be saving the details. For the first one is the general details, so let's give it a name. One thing to notice here is you cannot give any array directly in here. Like if we'll type anything, it will be taken as string only, even if we are giving it like an array or maybe list. But at the like in behind, it is taken as a string only. So in order to save something like a string, we need to go to edit as go to in this edit as JSON, and then we have to pass, or we can directly paste these values for the first key. And if we'll go back to this, we'll not be able to modify it from here. Similarly, we are going to do for personal details as well, and we are going to do the same thing. Click on edit as JSON, look for the key that we just added, that is personal details, and remove the double quotes or single quotes and paste your array, and again it will be taken as JSON node. And if you'll go back here, it will be organized automatically, and we have both the arrays that we are going to need in the list action. Now let's drag this element, and we want to merge these, so I'll name it like this, merge list. And in order to merge this list, we need to provide these list names here, that is merge list order, and we have to add which lists do we want to merge here. So, and in order to refer these things, we have to give the proper path. So we have configured it in sv list, and then the second node will be general details. So it will be sv node and general details. Similarly for the second one as well, the second one was personal details, Let's replace it with this. Now we have a advanced merge. So it says match nodes that have different names and reside at different places levels in incoming list. So now we have these arrays, and if you analyze, we have the IDs, both are common in both the arrays, but their keys are different. So we have to configure it to make sure that they compare each other. Like ID of the first array will be compared to user ID of the second array, and it will merge the list accordingly. So for this one, we want advanced merge, and we need to define, like, from the general one, that is the one that holds the name and other details like this. And for this one, it has to be ID, and we have to give an order. This will match with a group. I'll explain you in a while. So if when I configure the second, for this one we have to give this key, that is user ID, and we'll again give one as the matching group. Let's say we have three or maybe any third array, and that would have some other uh, value for this. So we could have clubbed all of these, and all of the three would have merged based on ID, user ID, and whatever the key that holds the ID in the third array. So this is, you can say, a logical grouping is happening in here. Let's check the result for this, and in order to be able to see that result, we need to add the response section as well. We are going to click on return on only additional output, and I can name it anything, and I need to refer this element. So in order to refer that element, we need to use the merge field. These are called merge fields, and we need to pass the name of the node. Let's preview it. We do not need to give any input to this because we are taking the input from set values, which is already referred in here. So we do not have to do anything in here. We can just hit on execute, and we see the details got merged. First name, last name, middle name. This was from the general details, and this one is from uh, the personal details. You see this user ID and ID are same. I mean, it will be, so wherever we have user ID and ID1, it will be merged, similar for 2 and 3 and so on. So they are merged. Now we have few other features as well in this to refine the output. Okay, now we have one thing called dynamic output field, and it says that we can specify if we only want few nodes rather than we are, like, currently we are getting everything, that is all of these things. We can define which all fields do we need. So I will create a list of this as well. So let's say we want date of birth, maybe university, ID, first name, last name, maiden name, and few other things. Basically, only few fields we are going to give out in as a response, and we do not have to configure, and we do not want to send everything as the output. So we can do it with dynamic output fields. So I'll configure that. So it expects an array of comma separated values of the keys. So uh, how do we create that at the first place, and how do we pass it? So we have this set values element. Let's create another node, and that says output nodes, and in this node we are going to pass the uh, name of the nodes which we need as an output. So let's copy this output first, and we'll figure out and we'll decide from here which all things do we need. We want ID. Let's go here, and we need to make it as an array. So we need to remove this ID. So we figured out that we only want these nodes in the output, and we do not need everything. We need to configure that in dynamic output. So in here we have to mention, or we have to give the path that is sv lists, and then our node name, that is sv underscore lists and colon output nodes. Now since this is configured, we can click on preview and hit execute. You see we are getting the response that we configured in the dynamic list. Dynamic output field. So we're now only getting this. We can also sort the output by configuring the sort list field by clicking on add new value, and in this field we need to specify based on which key we want to sort the array. That is, let's say for example we take date of birth and we click on sort by. By default it will always be the ascending order. If I click on execute, you see the IDs got randomized because it is it is sorting based upon the date of birth, and that is in ascending. If we want it in descending, we can mark this as checked and hit execute here. Now it got updated and the result is in descending order based on the date of birth field that we selected there. We also have the filter list formula, and in this we can utilize any of these nodes that we have. Let's say we want a person who have height above certain centimeters, that is, let's say height greater than 170, and let's hit execute. So now the list size has got reduced. We can verify that from here. Earlier this count was 13. Now we are only getting 16 elements. So it eliminated all the nodes that had height less than 170. Similar to that, you can configure other things as well, and we can also update the existing things in here with, let's say, update field value. So let's say we have this as our output. Now we want either a new node that will be a concatenation of first name and last name. So let's configure this. So we can say full name, and it will be a concatenation of first name plus, it will be in here actually, plus last name, and so we will get an additional node now that will be a full name. We're not getting it right now, and the reason for that is we already configured which all fields do we need as the output nodes. So either we need to add the key here, is called full node. So we can add it here. And now if we will preview it, we'll get the output, or we can remove it so that it like we do not get confused later on. So we can remove it. Use it once you have finalized your output nodes, then only you can, I recommend you to configure it later on once you have everything and you have finalized the nodes and the key value pairs, whatever you want to pass as an output. I'm removing it for now just to avoid any confusion. I'm getting a full name for each of this, and it is a concatenation of first name and last name. And we can also override any existing key. So for that, if we go in here, here, let's say we want to update the university, we can go in here and university plus, and we are going to concatenate UNI at the end of every university name. Hit OK. Let's preview it. So if you see in here, at the end of every university, now we have UNI dot, which we configured here. We covered most of the topics in list action. Thanks for watching. That's all for this video.